In a world where it's so much easier to just fit in, our authentic selves will hang on for dear life, begging to see the light of day and begging to be loved, even when we suppress them so far beneath the surface. That's what I did. I'd tell myself, Anthony, it's so much easier to just fit in than to share yourself with this world. Mind you, there were moments when my authenticity would gently whisper, saying, Anthony, it's okay. One day you'll love me. But then, there were moments when I judged myself the most, and when it didn't even feel safe enough to share who I was with the world. That's when my authenticity would yell and scream, saying, Anthony, free me with the world, love me. It took me 24 years for me to finally love my full self. Even though I was outgoing, had an incredible career outside of university, the most loving and supportive family and friends, there was just one piece of my authenticity that was quite literally being closeted from the world and holding me back in every single way. Mom, Dad, I'm gay, I said one day, trembling. But let me tell you, that one sentence began to remove the shackles and send me on a journey of personal growth and transformation, my momentum. And so I knew it was now time to do the work. I got an amazing coach who helped me to get rid of the baggage that I had so long carried that would now allow me to love the light that I brought to this world. I started spending more time alone with myself. I really needed to reacquaint Anthony with Anthony. Guess what? I became my perfect, authentic self. Anthony, the yoga student, gym rat, reality TV fan, transformational coach, image consultant, top performing employee, reliable son, God lover, and gay. What is it? What is it that you are not owning about yourself? That if you spent some time unpacking, it would accelerate your life, transform your business, help you take those next steps in an important relationship, and most importantly, create positive waves of momentum in your communities that need you to show up authentically. What I know from my journey is that the most important thing you can do for any area of growth in life is to just love yourself. See, being gay is just one piece of my authenticity. But because I had suppressed it for so long, the light that I brought to life was so much dimmer than it is now. Now, my authentic self and I are like best friends. We're tight like this. We'll make decisions together. I'll discover new hobbies with it. Even a few months ago, my authenticity and I decided to leave my cushy, comfortable 9-to-5 job to start pursuing my passion and get the most out of life using my gifts. And so I assure you, when you utilize that authenticity, it will accelerate you. But let's be real here for a second. You might be sitting here thinking like, Anthony, look, I get it. Like, you said you suppressed something, you've dealt with it, you're on stage now, you seem fine. What about me? Like, what's my authenticity? What does that mean to me? Authenticity can be defined as being true to your spirit, personality, and values, despite outside force to act otherwise. And the most beautiful thing about all of this is that all of your authenticity is so different. You know those like unique gifts, skills, and talents that you just know you're really good at? Like there's no shame in acknowledging that, or people will point it out to you. Those things get amplified, electrified, magnified when you start to love your full self. And sometimes our authenticity can be confusing. It could be hard to put words to. It could be shameful. Sometimes it's just a knowing. Sometimes it's just listening to yourself to say, hey, I need a break. Let me book a holiday. Like, I'm tired. It doesn't always have to be that deep, but sometimes it is. Okay, let's get to the fun stuff. I have this 5-step process I'm gonna give you about how to unwrap your authenticity in the most beautiful way. It worked for me, family, friends, clients, all those great people. It's like gonna rock your world, actually. So let's raise the energy in this room. I'd actually really love a drum roll. I don't know if you mind giving me a drum roll. Let's raise the energy in this room's Momentum Conference. I'm kidding. There's not 5 steps. There's not 5. There could be 5, 10, 15, 20, 200, 3,000. One. I want to share with you one tip that I promise will work. It will recenter you. It will alert you where you need to spend time. So write this down or remember this. This is important. I promise you it was worth the drum roll. Quiet your mind and just listen. Quiet your mind and just listen. I really wanted to say just shut up, but that felt a little harsh to lead off with. So quiet your minds and just listen, but really just shut up. Close TikTok, put YouTube away. Put the meditations aside for a second. That beautiful self-help book, just put it on the shelf for a minute. Presence yourself. Give your authentic self the gift of permission to communicate with you. Get comfortable in silence. I promise that's where the answers are. Let yourself focus on what you need to hear. And so I want to try this with you right now, actually. If you don't mind, close your eyes, presence yourself. You're at the Momentum Conference at the Glenn Gould Studio, or you're watching from home. You're more than halfway towards achieving your goals because you have incredible people surrounding you here that are cheering you on. As your eyes are closed, take a deep breath and ask your authentic self permission to ponder some of these questions I'm about to ask you and bring to light anything that currently feels safe and comfortable to ponder. Okay. Is what you say, feel, and do in alignment? Am I afraid of sharing myself with the world? Do I compromise my values just to fit in? Do I show up in different ways with family, friends, and communities that feel insincere or inauthentic? Are you sitting on an incredible business idea that you're just too shameful to bring to life? What is one takeaway that you can take from this reflection that will launch you into the most beautiful, authentic next phase of your life? And if your eyes are closed, take a deep breath in, presence yourself back in this room, back in your body and in your mind, and open your eyes. Welcome back. Brené Brown says, "Shame cannot survive being spoken." That shame for me existed for 24 years. I always knew I had to come out to my parents first. I value my relationship with them so much. They're so special. They're so loving. They took that conversation in the best way they could, and they love me so much. But I wanted to be confident and comfortable in myself to be able to hold space for the both of us in that conversation. And so in doing that, it's not because I didn't have the other people in my life that could have supported me. It's because I owed that conversation to them. And in those 24 years, there was a lot of shame. I would go to bed and it would be on my mind. I'd wake up in the middle of the night. It'd be keeping me up. It would make its way into my daily routines, unconsciously, consciously, sometimes whether I knew it or not. It was just that limiting belief of I'm not good enough. So let's try to kick some of that shame's butt right now. I want you to turn to a partner in a moment. And again, if it feels comfortable and safe to do so, discuss what came up when I asked you those questions. Whether it's someone you know, great. If it's someone you don't know, even better. Sometimes these conversations are meant to be had with people that don't know you as well because they can just hold that safe space for you. So reflect, what is your authentic self yelling, screaming, or just whispering to you? I want you to take just a moment or so right now. I'll tell you when to switch. You have about a minute, and then we'll come back on stage and wrap up. So turn, find a partner, and have some really good, authentic discussions, okay? You have a minute. All right, let's bring it back in, everyone. See, these conversations, they're so important. And sometimes you need more time. So at the break, I encourage you, build these connections more, explore your authenticity more. Sometimes you'll be so surprised what your authentic self will say or alert you to. Like, you can't plan these things. If you told my 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14-year-old, 24-year-old self, I'd be up on stage sharing this story, I would never believe you. But that's because I followed the voice. I followed the signs. And so as I wrap up, I want you to try to remember a few things. Number 1, close your minds and just listen, aka shut up. Number 2, go fall in love with yourself. You have to love your authenticity for it to thrive. So fall in love with yourself, align with your authenticity. It persists. It will prevail. It's not going anywhere, so own it. Love yourself and just be you. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you. Thank you.